freeway, slinging my banging, my swinging, my coup. DeVille, scoop, DeVille. Like
Welcome. This is Neutral Voices. I'm Dr. V, and this is In Depth, where we dig deep in the trenches of what matters. And tonight we're having an amazing conversation, deep conversation, critical conversation about colon cancer. So we've been talking about cancer, different types of cancer, all month. And I would say this one here is really important, and I'm going to say scary. I wanted to blame the other one, the prostate, on the men, and it was like, okay, even though we have to still be concerned about it, we need to know about it. It was like, one less thing you have to worry about as a woman.
Right.
But colon cancer,
it doesn't discriminate.
Being the second leading cause of cancer.
Yes.
Yeah. Is serious.
It's serious.
It does not discriminate.
No.
And we need to know about it.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. Well, we're going to talk about it. And before we actually get too deep in it, what is colon cancer? I want to say this. It's not rectal cancer.
No.
Because some people, even though they're on the same street, so to speak, some people get them mixed up.
And it's a lot of times when you hear it, they're connected because people say colorectal cancer, but they're two separate, as you say, they're on the same street, but they're two separate houses. The colon is, it's a little bit higher, and, because the colon it engulfs your intestines, a part of your intestines, and it's actual your whole innards and
your digestion. How you digest everything.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Now, so on the panel, I know we talked about our personal perspective the last time, and I would like for us just a little bit, if you have a personal story, if you have worked with somebody, or like in my case, I guess you would say I held his hand and kind of was his comforter during the process, as he said. Who has been in that situation? Because it is quite difficult if you have had to deal with somebody personally with colon cancer.
Yeah, I have not yet, and I pray that it doesn't happen, had to deal with anybody with a terminal illness, especially cancer, because watching them fade away would probably be the hardest thing for me to observe. But, when I did it, when I first did it, I think it was about 10 years ago. I had my first test, but what was happening is I saw some blood in my stool, and so I went to the doctor, and I had the first colonoscopy, and again, get it done. I didn't find any entertainment in it. It's not fun, but I had to get it done. But what they did is they did that first. But then they gave me another GI scope. I ended up having a bleeding ulcer, which led to the stool. But they wanted to make sure that it was not colon cancer or anything related to cancer because of blood in my stool.
Now, thank you for sharing the personal story as far as yourself, and that's what prompted you to actually get your first colon screening?
Colonoscopy, yes. Yeah, I was not going. I was healthy. I was running around. I thought I was good.
But how long after, when you first saw that, did you right away? Were you like, okay, I'm gonna, or did you wait?
No, as y'all know, my mother's a nurse. So the first thing I did was call my mother. I was like, look,
Mom.
Yeah, this is what this is going on. So it was in a matter of days that I was in, because she was like, don't play around with it. Let's get to the.
So you're saying something that's really important for us, and a lot of times we don't like to talk about our stool, our poop, period, right?
Period, right.
But in this case, we need to talk about it because you said that's what made you go get the colonoscopy in the first place.
Yes.
Because you saw blood in your stool.
Yes.
In order to see blood in your stool, you got to be looking at something.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was one of those things, and and we are adults, but we think of it, and this is a thing that it sounds gross. It sounds that we wouldn't do it, but I was just happened to go to flush the toilet, and I was like, that is that ain't right. So so I was like but to answer your question and go back, no, I didn't do it right then. I was just like, maybe it's a fluke or something. You know, maybe it was something I ate.
Maybe you
it's
strained.
Yeah, maybe.
Exactly.
So it wasn't
say.
that precise minute that I was like, okay, I got to act. No. So I waited, maybe a day or so, a couple of days or so, just went on about my business, not thinking about it. But when I saw it again, that's when, it was more like, let's get it
So
done.
monitoring.
But,
So that was, but what you just said, it's not a one time.
Right.
So you said even a couple days later or whenever that next bowel movement took place, you noticed this was back.
Yes.
So, but would you have to actually have a bowel movement, or would there be any type of blood present and just sitting on the toilet? So to speak?
Yes, it could. Well, for women, I'm assuming,
and that's why I'm asking that
for women,
question.
I would assume that yes, because you're already in that seated position that there would be possibly some blood evidence and things like that. But and not only did the blood, and this is going to sound gross, and I know we're going to move on. You got to pay attention to the formation of your fecal matter, and you got to think in your bowel movement schedule. If you're suffering from chronic constipation, that's not saying it's colon cancer, but it can be a precursor or a sign. If you chronic constipation, or if you have to strain to push, or and then here's another one is if you have chronic diarrhea, it could also your body expelling things give you, like we talked about the urine and the prostate, it gives you signs and symptoms of of something that could be wrong.
Yeah, and with that being said, and I'm going to mention this in my, when we talk about my experience, the weight loss is also a big part of it, because like you're expelling things, but you're not replenishing because you're sick. So a lot of it, especially with women, I mean, a lot of women, some of the symptoms were, fatigue. What woman isn't tired, or man?
Right.
So blood in the stool. But I'm not one of those people who, I guess, really monitors stuff like that unless I don't feel well. You know. So weight loss. I mean, if a woman is losing weight, like there are just so many things. Diarrhea. The woman that I knew was actually my neighbor, and she had stomach issues for a very long time, but she was a busy mom. She was stressed, going through a divorce. So she was kind of like, okay, my anxiety meds are causing this. This is causing this. And just tried to make sense of it. So by the time she finally went, and this was after almost a year of having like bad bowel movements, diarrhea, blah, blah, blah. She was already, I believe it was stage 3. It was so bad that she had to have a surgery. And at this point, she was probably not even 40. So here she is, a 40-year-old woman, a single woman with children. And after the surgery, she had the colostomy bag put on. So not just going through it by yourself and everything, but just the emotional and everything else. I thought a lot about that as I was watching her, go through it.
Right. And so thank you for sharing that. And then, so just so that we don't lose track of time, so when you think about colon cancer, first of all, outside of the fear of thinking about it being uncomfortable, you have heard people say it is very painful. What does it actually look like? And I know we do have a picture so that we can wrap our minds around what the different tumors look like. And you hear people talk about tumors in the colon or polyps, if you've ever heard of polyps. And so Clarence, you had your test. Did they mention anything to you after your test about polyps?
Actually, thankfully, no. They didn't have any polyps, but I've known people that have gone in and they've removed several, not just one, but several polyps. And, they send them out, to get them tested and see what they are. And a lot of them, most of them came back negative, but they're just like little nodules, on it. And as we were talking about your bowel movements, but think about, you're trying to push something past something that's already there, and you're gonna feel it, and it's not gonna move properly. You're gonna feel it, and I'm assuming it would cause a great pain because it's already there, and you're already trying to push. And I've never been in labor.
For people that's constipated,
yes,
etc. Okay, so speaking of polyps, you have a box in front of you.
Yes.
So can you share with us what's in the box?
Well, this box, and we were just talking about this. I gotta come to grips with this box right here. If you're not
You came to grips with the other part. Why did you come to grips with the box?
well, I didn't come to grips with the other one. They just gave me the other. I had no choice at the time. I still ain't over that. I got PTSD.
So what you're saying is this is a box you're not happy about.
I got to convince
necessarily.
myself to.
Okay.
I just went to my doctor recently, and like I say, it's my time to get screened again. But this is for colon cancer, and this is a Cologuard. If you've seen a commercial, that little box is on a commercial, the walk-in box, and but the thing is now, and this is where I have an issue too, because you have to give a specimen in this box. You have to, and then you have to ship it.
Not in the actual box.
Now,
There's something in here.
not in the actual box,
Not in the
that's
actual box.
inhumane.
Yeah.
right in the device.
Yeah, in the device.
the
So you don't just
tray.
put it in the box. But and the reason I haven't opened it is for I just want to keep it sterile. But I want to whatever's in here, you have to give a sample and mail it back in a box. And I just haven't come to grips mentally of mailing poop in the mail.
How long have you had this?
About 2 months now.
And here's the thing: the box is heavy.
The box
So
is heavy.
he did allow me to pick up the box. The box is heavy. Now he's guarding his box. He's real serious about it, and I understand. But the box is heavy, and so for anybody that hasn't had to do this test is called what again?
It's a Cologuard. It's where and it's a non-invasive, and they give you in the commercial. It's a non-invasive way to see if you have any traces that would lead you to have to go further scopes of colon cancer. But like I said, you just send them a stool sample and they examine it, and then they say it takes about 3 to 4 weeks, and depending on the labs or whatever, and they'll give it back to your doctor, and then the doctor will follow up with you if anything's found.
Right, and it's good to know about that. So real quick, I would just want to say this. Actually, doing the colonoscopy is really the only way to discover these polyps.
The polyps,
and so,
yes.
Yeah, and so it's really important. So here's one of the things that we want you to take away. If you get your test soon, early, starting at 40.
Right.
If you get your test, for sure, Jill,
At 40.
starting at 40.
Yes.
So, Jill, you're late. You got to hurry up. You can catch it in its early stage.
Yes.
And if they remove the polyps, then you have actually lowered your risk to almost zero.
Yeah. Can I speak
Yes.
to that? Go ahead. We were just, E and I were just in a seminar earlier, and Dr. Coates was speaking, and he gave a great thing about this. He says if you catch it early, they have a 97% survival rate or cure rate.
Okay.
And what he said is cured. He said, because this is science, it's not 100% gone and cured. It doesn't, but that gives you longer life. That means you can live 5 years longer. You can live 10 years longer.
Yes.
Will it come back? It's possible. But if you catch it earlier, the cure rate
possibilities of it returning are less.
Yes,
Extends
and
the
the mobility
longevity.
is less too. You're not going to pass from it if you can catch it early.
Yes.
But a preventative measure for colon cancer.
What's that?
How often do any of y'all do a colon cleanse?
I've never done one.
You haven't?
I know people who
Oh,
have.
yeah. I have.
I've never done one.
I have never done one either.
I've done that
doing my research. Yeah, a
Several
colon
times.
cleanse. I mean, a natural colon cleanse.
Natural and drinking certain teas that
Clean you out.
cleanses your colon.
Cleanses your colon. That's a preventative measure from getting colon cancer.
So that's one way. Awesome. This is kind of scary. So think about this. In the room right now, there's 5 people in this room.
Right.
You guys see 4. And so our camera guy, between us 5, 1 in 5,
1 in 5.
will have a polyp right now as we're speaking. Right now. So,
There's a 1 in 3 that it might develop into cancer.
okay. I'm getting ready to say.
I ain't gonna let you put that in the room.
1 in 5. I'm giving you some raw stats.
Something?
If you will
I'm gonna ask
allow
you a
me
question.
to.
I'm gonna ask you a question. And I'm just gonna be quite honest. We so busy. We look at what somebody has researched, or
Yes.
somebody.
That's all we can rely on.
And half the time, they don't even know. So sometimes I just sit back and be like, you giving me numbers and be like, when people give you numbers and you read them, be like, how in the heck can you sit here and say, okay, it's 5 people in the room, so 1 out of 5 people right now have it? You can't.
Because what that is a real visual for you. So if the stats say 1 in 5 people will have a polyp as we're speaking, or right now, or every second, 1 in 5. If there's 5 people in the room, the math is easy. So if you look at that, the point in that statistic and in sharing that is so that our community, our listeners, our family will go get checked and not be afraid of it. So that's how common just getting a polyp is. So what I'm saying is if they find the polyp in time, soon they can remove it, and the chances of you getting cancer can be as low as 0.
Yeah.
So that's why that stat is important.
Well, another stat, since you're talking about that I ran across that was interesting, was that the trend, there's a downward trend in older adults. So the study said they considered older 50 and over. However, younger people under 50 and under, there's an upward trend, even 1% to 2% per year. So if you think about that, we were talking a little bit before we came on about how, like why would that be? Other than, the food is different now, the environment, maybe it's, factors like that. But we also said older people are, in my opinion, more apt to go and
to the doctor.
Yes, than like me. I haven't had any oscopies because nothing has came up. I haven't felt any type of way. I just haven't done it. And I think that's obviously an issue. But,
and I would say
my mom, on the other hand, she does all of her stuff. And she's more apt to, if something is wrong, she's going to go. She's going to get it checked out.
Right. And that's why I'm saying, so what you just said is a reason for you to definitely make that appointment, tomorrow. Because
seriously,
they just said the numbers are showing that the chances are greater. The risks are higher for people.
Younger people.
Yes. 40 and below. And the other thing is I know older people, as soon as something's wrong, they get into the doctor. Or if they have children that care for them,
you
getting them there. And they have access to health care.
Can I give you a reason why this is too?
Yes.
And again, this was a point that brought up by Dr. Coates. And I'm going to give Joe Ayers a plug.
I was going to say, can you mention real quick?
I'm going to give Joe Ayers a plug real quick. He does this every second Wednesday of the month. Man, you need to go because he gives a whole lot of information. He has professionals there to give information, and it's very needed for your health and your overall well-being. But what Dr. Coates said, one of the things is we as younger people, we live different lifestyles as older people because, and look at the commonalities of now, the higher in drug use and alcohol use and things such as so that, is where it's now, it's higher now because those people are getting older. Those, the people that was, first started in these eras, pill popping era, I would say.
And now what you're saying, it's smoking and drinking, they're not doing it as much.
And now they're getting to the age of 30 and 40, and but then again, there's a problem with insurances. You can only go when you get to be a certain age for certain tests. The doctors can't really do these tests, or unless it's an extreme emergency, before a certain age.
Or you're paying for it.
Yes, or you're paying for it. So there's a lot of issues with the medical community that they maybe have to figure it out. But that's one of the reasons a lot of younger people, because they're not being able to be tested early.
Yeah, right.
Wow. That's true. Okay, so as far as diet, what things are we eating? So let's figure out what things are we eating that can be causing this or can lead to colon cancer.
Can lead to
it, and then the things that we need to eat to do better.
You eating too much meat. That's first and foremost.
Any meat?
All meat.
Okay.
Because meat is hard to digest.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Okay. So red meat for sure.
All meat.
Okay.
All meat is hard to digest.
Man, you're just gonna take all the meat off.
No, but your body, honestly, what I have read, your body is not even set up to actually digest meat. so it gets stuck there.
Okay.
And so it's just like anything else. If once it gets stuck to something, it starts to mold.
Mm-hmm.
So once that's one of the
That's a
biggest-
great analogy.
I was going to
That
say,
is
when
a
you
great
start thinking about
analogy.
that, you
Yeah.
already thinking, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the importance. That's one of the importance of colon cleansing. I mean, I'm sitting here reading like I never really thought about it like that because me, I'm a chicken eater. I eat chicken like it, and everybody think chicken is actually healthy for you, and it's not. So that's
Because
one of
it's a
the.
protein, I think people might look at it like that.
Your body
It's
cannot.
a light protein.
Yeah, your body can't process it.
That's why when you're on a high protein diet, you need to eat things like fiber and stuff to push everything through.
Yeah.
So that's part of the, and one of the things you do need to eat is berries, carrots. They even said coffee is good for you.
Now that's what you're saying. I have to check into that because people go back and
coffee
forth with
cleans
this
you out.
coffee
Because it's a
thing.
diuretic.
Yeah, coffee
That's
cleans
what
you
I'm
out.
saying.
Well, and it depends on your caffeine because if you drink the caffeinated coffee, I think and I hear that I'm not a coffee drinker,
I
but I
hear
hear
it too,
people.
but I'm saying so we need to look a little deeper into that because coffee gets it's split.
Yeah.
Well,
I hear people saying yes, do the coffee 1 day, 2 a day. Then next thing is like don't drink it.
Yeah.
Period.
You got your roughage. That's what I call
Roughage.
it. Yeah. Your vegetables like
Veggies,
cabbage,
for sure.
kale.
A lot of green leafy
Yeah,
vegetables.
green leafy nuts are actually good for you.
Yes.
Spinach. So it's things like that on that level
Mm-hmm.
that helps keep your colon clean.
Yep. So real quick, think fruits,
Well,
vegetables.
Well, you
And
got
fiber. You said, Jill, you said fiber.
Yeah, fiber is part of it. You got to eat the fruits that's what is it called?
Antioxidants.
Yeah, antioxidants.
Okay, so not just any fruit. We need the antioxidants.
like blueberries.
Blueberries and things like
Gotcha.
that.
Yeah.
Citrus fruit is actually good for you too. So
Okay.
So clean eating, like natural.
yeah.
And less alcohol.
Yes.
As possible. So not more than one a day for people that feel like you gotta have it. Not more than one a day, and then increasing your exercise at least 20 minutes.
Right.
So at least 20 minutes. If you can get 20 minutes in 3 times a week, then that's awesome.
But and one of the other things is, and I got to give Joe Ayers his credit because
And I
I
want
learned
you
a
to.
lot sitting there in the hour and a half that I was
Can
there.
I ask a question
Yes,
real quick
ma'am.
about that? Can you give us the title and where was the event held so we
Yes,
are
it's
on the same page?
It's every second Wednesday, and it's held at the Impact Center here on Paulding Road, off of Hezenkessel. It starts about 5:30. And he has doctors and he has professionals in it, and it's called Men Fighting for Health. That's his seminar. It's Men Fighting for Health. Again, they talked about prostate cancer, but they also gave a talk about cholesterol and a whole lot of other things, and he just talked. He talked about. Well, it's another thing.
Something else he talked about. It was,
I got you.
But they gave a lot of information. But one of the things he said, and we think that smoking is just for lung cancer. We think that smoking is only going to give you lung cancer, it may give you throat cancer. But when you're putting those toxins in your body, they don't just settle in one area of your body. They spread. So smoking is seriously, that is one thing you can stop and you must stop doing, because that you might smoke and never get colon cancer. I mean lung cancer, but you can get colon cancer. You can get a cancer anywhere else in your body from smoking. Just thinking, oh, it just settles in your lungs and in your throat, but no, those chemicals they don't just resonate in one part of your body. They spread throughout your entire body.
Absolutely, and it's good that you mentioned that.
Can I smoke my natural leaf cigar?
I knew you. I knew you wanted to smoke something.
I mean, my natural. No, I ain't talking about no herbal essence.
Listen,
But I still got about 5.
what is it?
Wet leaf cigars.
I got 5.
That's what I'm saying, the cigars.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't talking about my cigarettes, but I can chill with those. But I need my cigar. I got 5 stogies. That's I gotta get
I
rid
forgot
of.
you was a smoker. Yeah, I didn't even think about it. That wasn't a shot at
It
you.
was a shot at
no,
me.
it wasn't. It was just
a
what I
shot. It's
learned.
okay.
So no,
What I learned
but
today.
no, what I wanted to ask.
No,
is
I mean I was listening to him the whole time about it. So I took my last one today. It was a wrap.
Okay.
It was a wrap after what I heard. I'm like, oh, okay, let me leave these alone. But I needed to talk to him about my cigars.
Forgot to ask.
Yeah, I got my cigars.
Did he give you a pass on the cigars?
No, I haven't.
He hasn't asked for one
okay,
yet.
you still need to.
One thing at a time.
Dr. Coates, be ready
Give him
for
a break.
this.
Yeah, one at a time.
So one of the things, just speaking of smoking, vaping, and I know people look at it as totally different, but since you're talking about that, do we know anything as far as the effects that vaping could have?
Nobody does.
To my, that's the problem. But to my understanding, it's the same chemicals. So it's the lesser of the nicotine, but it's still the same chemicals, and some of them actually have harsher chemicals in them. So, and like I say, and I do apologize. I forgot that you were a smoker, but he made this. He made this point. That people think that I'm gonna get lung cancer, but those chemicals, they don't just resonate in your lungs and in your throat. That you're putting those in your body. So being mindful of everything you put into your body, you just got to be careful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now we have a few more stats. I don't know if Jill, did you keep yours? I do have a couple.
I did have some projections in a study that I found. So, but this actually encompasses. What did you call it? Colorectal.
Yes.
So they included the rectal cancer with the colon because it's all under the same blanket.
And one of the reasons too, because they're so close, they're the closest to spread.
Right,
from one
exactly.
to another.
So sometimes if you have, the one, you have the other. So the projections that were based off of the obviously previous year statistics is the Cancer, what is it? National Cancer Institute, I believe the study came from, says that in 2023, so by the end of this year, there will be 52,550 deaths. That's for the actual mortality. Between
Total.
between colorectal cancer as a whole.
Now, and listen to this one. This is interesting. This is probably why I don't care for stats. Mortality in 2020, colon cancer caused approximately 53,200 deaths in men. Watch this, and 50,800 in women in just the United States.
Yeah, and we didn't speak about this too much, but women, this is a silent killer for women as much as it is as men. Men are not the only ones that need to go get these tests. Women, be aware of what's going on in your bodies as well, because it happens. You see the numbers of women, and the reason it happens so high is because we're not going to get these particular tests. Now, you'll go get your mammogram and whatever annual exam you got, but to get that exam, that's not on your annual radar. That is one exam that's not on any of our annual radar
until you get sick.
Until you don't
get sick.
Yep.
So we're overlooking a lot of things and symptoms and signs that we
symptom signs. We're overlooking it, and it's creeping up on us. And then when we go check, sometimes it's too late. Another thing, we kind of mentioned that why Black people always at the top of the list, higher risk for Black people. And, one of the things as I was looking at this, not that we just all thick, but a lot of times in the Black culture and the community, we kind of encourage that. I know even other cultures, Jamaica, different places, the bigger the better. They like the thickness, but obesity is also one of the risk factors for colon cancer.
You got to look at this too. It's not obesity, because some women or some men are just naturally big
bone.
Yeah, well, they ain't got
big
show me
bone.
a big
Bones are the same size.
show me a big bone skeleton. I mean, as far as I'm
Big
just saying.
bones.
bones are the same size.
Same size.
I've
But
never
they-
thought of that before.
Bones are not the same size.
Okay, but just imagine a person body mass is just bigger than some people. So you can't say obesity. I mean,
Well, it is one of the causes.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, or a risk. You're at a greater risk if you're obese.
And can I answer that question as well? They deem our lifestyle to be, just off the rails anyway. And most of what we do,
You saying because of what we eat,
how we live. We all don't live like that. We're not all singular
That's right.
group of people.
we're not all
monolithic.
just poor and eating processed food every day, all day.
But that's one of the reasons. But also, and it can go back to as he was talking about our diet. Our diet does play a lot to it.
Yeah, our diet
because
plays major.
we ate the scraps for the longest, and that has we took the scraps and made them a delicacy. And now people want our scraps as they go to fancy restaurants and want to order them under a different name, but they're the scraps that we had. So what I'm saying is your diet and what you eat and what you put in your body, it all depends on that can take a toll on your body.
Absolutely. And then, so worst case scenario, We didn't do what we needed to do. We didn't do our 20 minutes of exercise to cut our risk down by 25%. I just want to make sure y'all understand that. That means a brisk walk, a slow bike ride, something like that. It doesn't have to be extreme.
Right.
So first of all, we have to do that, not make excuses for that.
Yeah.
So that we don't have to have the surgery.
Right.
What does it look like if we do?
Well,
we get to that point.
Yeah.
And here we got to go through the process.
Yeah, and you have once it gets to that, that is your option.
Yeah. And
They didn't give her an option. It was this or, you want to live.
Right.
Yeah, and quick, Dr. V, because I'm not trying to provoke, but I'm going to ask: did your uncle have sections of his colon and his
It did. He never made it to
removed?
that. He didn't make it to that point.
Yeah, so that is, you can survive anything, you can survive and come back from, but also you got to be mindful of what you do. But just do the things beforehand that you don't have to go to those extremes.
And so that's why I wanted to get to that, though, because the truth is there's so many people with it, and we have to bring awareness like we're doing to the topic. And yes, my uncle did have colon cancer, and one of the things that I remember the most is that he said it was so painful. His tummy, everything, he just was in pain. And so the moments that I would see him smile, I wasn't so happy because I knew that pain was coming back. And he said at night it got worse for him.
That's sad.
And so, yes, and so then things start to break down, the kidney, etc. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
And, so for anybody that that may be going through those things, so just be mindful and prayerful about what they're really dealing with.
And like you said, spouses, relatives that are watching them go through.
Yes. And so if you can, and you know somebody and they're of age, male or female, you need to encourage them to go get the test, the colonoscopy, because it's going to be better in the long run if they catch it early. Yeah, and so that's what we're here for. We're here to encourage you. If everything goes right, people have half of their bowel removed or a portion of their bowel removed wherever the cancer is, and they can still survive.
Yes.
Not necessarily having an ostomy bag.
Right.
Yeah.
You can come out okay.
Yes.
And so we just want to encourage you to do that. And so as we get ready to close, I just want to remind you, overall, colon cancer is highly preventative. And it says 85% could be prevented or treated successfully if people just get tested. And the best course of action is just that, action. So take action today and make your appointment. This is Neutral Voices, and before we exit, we always say, E.
Always protect your mind.
Chase 405 is the freeway, slinging my, banging my, swinging my coupe. DeVille, scoop.